The note said, "Darling, I hate to tell you this way, but I've run off with your roommate. Signed, your fiancé." I sat down and cried. What else could I do? That's when I noticed my car keys were missing too. And so was my favorite sweater, my TV, my stereo. My whole life crumbled before my eyes. Where was I to go? I ran to the supermarket in a blinding rage, craving foods I hadn't touched since 12 years of age. 'Cause not only did my man run out today, my boss let me go. I have been depressed before, but never quite this low. Yes, I guess I've been depressed, but ever this low? No. And I ran up and down the aisles of the supermarket, crying and shaking and pulling things off the shelves based solely on their carbohydrate, calorie, and cholesterol count. I didn't go overboard, just enough to get me through the night. So I threw my purchases down in the conveyor belt. They rolled up to the checkout girl. She looked at them, she looked at me, and she said, "Hey lady, can't you read? The sign here says express. I'll check you out if you have got 10 items or less. But you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things right here. If you want me to check you through, put 3 things back, my dear." "Well, no," I said defiantly. "Try not to shake." She said, "Sweetheart, you don't need those Twinkies. You don't need that coffee cake. And how about those gourmet cookies? Let me tell you, they are grossly overpriced. Put 3 things back, those are the rules. I'm asking you real nice." But I just couldn't. So she said, "Okay, well then put back those frozen pizzas, or that box of pudding on a stick. Why, just looking at all those calories makes my stomach kind of sick." But I refused to back down. She refused to check me through. The line behind me was growing longer and angrier too. The line behind me was growing longer. There was pushing and shoving and cursing and swearing too. "Look, I'm not trying to make trouble," I said to her, "but I am having the worst kind of day. You see, today I lost my job, my car, my TV, my stereo, my favorite sweater, my roommate, not to mention my fiancé." But she shook her head and shouted, "3 things have got to go. Those are the rules. Oh, please, please, please," I begged, but she said no. "Oh, please, 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 please," I begged, but she said no. She was enjoying the power trip of it all. Because then all the other cashiers in solidarity shut down. The sudden empty silence was an eerie, spooky sound. Then all the customers started screaming, especially those with frozen food. The manager came running, he was in an ugly mood. Yes, the manager, he came running, he was ugly, so was his mood. Well, now I tried to explain to him my situation about my job, my fiancé, my car. He didn't give me half a chance. He just said, "Who the hell do you think you are? My whole store's paralyzed all on account of you. Now Manhattan is going hungry, 'cause you won't follow rules. Yes, Manhattan is gonna starve tonight, 'cause of stupid, selfish, solipsistic you." I didn't know what that meant either. I don't know why he was using such a big word on me. But it was because he really hated his job as store manager. He would just sit in the back room all day, reading the dictionary, taking the "it pays to increase your word power" test in Reader's Digest magazine. This has nothing to do with the song, but since it's also a play, I did a little character development. Well, I must have looked real pitiful. Tears were streaming down my face. He was not moved. He did not think that mine was a special case. So he grabbed me and he dragged me as I was sobbing towards the door. When a soft voice whispered, "I've got 7 items, I'll take 3 of yours." Well, I turned and looked at the handsomest man I'd ever seen. Brown hair, tweed suit, bow tie, eyes the bluest green. Well, the checkout girl was furious, but what else could she do? She checked out all her items and he said, "Let me carry them for you." Yes, she checked out all her items and he even paid for mine too. He did. And he carried them up to my apartment and he put them down on my table. Well, he put them down on the ironing board that I use as my table. And he looked around my apartment and he said, "You look like the kind of woman who shouldn't be having dinner by herself tonight." Which is what I think was his way of saying, "You look like you can't cook, but I can't, so I let that go by." And then he said to me, "Please allow me to take you out to dinner tonight. I would like to take you to Jean-Georges." I thought to myself, "Ooh, Jean-Georges, that's like one of the most expensive restaurants in New York City. Why would he want to take me there?" So I said to him, "Look, I don't even know you, and I am having the worst kind of day. Why are you being so nice to me?" And he said, "Well, I've got to do something to cheer myself up. You see, today I lost my job. And when I got home from work, I found a note stuck to the refrigerator from my fiancé, and she'd run off with somebody else. I said, "Are you kidding me? The same thing happened to me." And he said, "Yes, I'm kidding." I am so gullible sometimes. And it did make me laugh, so I thought, okay, I'll go out and have dinner with him. I'll drink that expensive wine, I'll eat that food I can't pronounce. Oh my gosh, the evening was simply incredible. It was an incredible meal, like the kind you only read about in a Martha Stewart magazine. The night was simply perfect, and it was then that we began to fall in love. Now, technically the song could be over here, but there's a couple of loose ends, and since it's a play, I've written another act. Oh, my roommate, my fiance, remember them? Stole my car when my car broke down that night. In a blinding thunderstorm, they hitched back and had a terrible fight. They did not see that 68 Chevy come speeding round the curb. And guess who was that behind the wheel? That nasty checkout girl! I know what you're thinking. What an unbelievable coincidence. But guess who was sitting next to her? Her fiancé, the store manager. And what were they doing? They were having a terrible fight too. It was like an epidemic that night. You see, he was so angry with her because she wouldn't check through the lady with the 13 items and paralyzed the store. And she was so mad at him because he, the guy with the bow tie, paid for the 13 items and they both got out of the store and escaped. She thought they should have been arrested and executed in front of her firing squad. And when he didn't agree, she knew they were incompatible. And she was so inconsolable that she was going to drive her car right into those two strangers who just happened to be my roommate and my fiancé standing in a blinding thunderstorm. And all four of them were going to die in a fiery wreck. She was going to drive the Chevy off the levee, but the levee was wet. In truth, that's how I would have ended this song in my younger, less sophisticated days. But since I've been on my medication, I am much less angry. And I thought it'd be nice to have a kinder, gentler ending. Oh, the checkout girl slammed on the brakes and stopped in time, and she offered them a ride. My fiancé fell in love with her, and the manager made my roommate his bride. And now she works stacking kitty litter in the cat food aisle. When I see her on my shopping sprees, I flash my sweetest smile. Hi! Yeah, John George again last night. Oh, the moral of this story is that one can never tell what could lie in store for you on your local grocery shelf. And sometimes you gotta break the rules when someone breaks your heart. And if you're lucky, love might fall into your shopping cart.